Welcome back to the show, everybody. Check out these headlines here. How about decoupling, systemic risk? That's what U.S. policymakers are talking about. We're going to talk about it too. And how about this? A classic shadow bank run? We got that and so much more. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow me on Twitter at Dig Perspectives at the top of the screen and everything that we're talking about here today. Give us a follow on TikTok also at Digital Perspectives, no spaces. Right now, we're still below $1 trillion market cap for crypto. We're up 2.6, sitting at $946 billion. Good morning. It's June 16, 2022. We're going to need a good, strong stomach for today's news here. Bitcoin, 21,100 plus. We see Ethereum at 1,100 right now. We see that Cardano is 48 cents and XRP is 31 cents at the number 8 spot this morning. The range of price is between 30 and 35 cents. So we had a little bit of a move last night overnight, which I did not see. I was sleeping, but I tell you, we will keep an eye on it. And we have some stuff to look at when it comes to technical analysis before we get out of here today. Take a look at this. The only thing better than buying crypto is buying tax-free crypto. And that's exactly what I do with I Trust Capital. I love it. Look at all the choices that you have here. Look at them all. This is amazing. When I think of buying tax-free crypto, I think of retiring. I imagine myself around palm trees, beautiful clear blue water, hanging back on the sand. Is there risk? Obviously. But it's tax-free risk, which is a lot better than the high-risk environment I'm in when I'm in crypto. Link underneath the video. No monthly minimums. Check it out. I Trust Capital. Roadrunner, XRP Roadrunner shares this from back in May from Barry Silbert. The decoupling is going to be magnificent. For those of you who don't know, Barry Silbert, digital currency group, original seed investor in Coinbase and Ripple and companies like that. Also Silvergate Bank. I mean, he's in so many things, a key player in building out this entire space. XRP Roadrunner says maybe this is the beginning of it right now since the Bitcoin dominance is falling. Well, we're going to talk about the pairing between XRP and Ethereum before we get out of here. But right now, let's talk about this very quickly. This is shout out to Hugo Filion from FLR Networks. I actually saw him when I was at the Consensus Conference. I just wished him well. I know there's been a lot of static over what are the tax implications to FLR and airdrops and things of that nature. And we really haven't been able to find out. And it's just by being victim to a nascent emerging marketplace, right? But here's a bigger question that's put forth from Cryptic Mind, and I know some very dear friends of mine that had the same question. Shout out to them. I don't want to name them. What will happen to all the FLR that is supposed to be airdropped to Celsius Network if they go belly up? I had a third of my airdrop headed there, he says. Any thoughts? Hugo responds, and I really appreciate the fact that he responded because there's so many people that have this question. He says, we would try to work with Celsius, or if the worst happened, their receivers to work something out. Can't promise anything. This is the risk inherent in centralized platforms. So stay tuned. Hopefully they can get that figured out. That is really going to be a tough one to sort out, I think. Now, this is a quick clip right here with John Deaton, the GOAT, baby. You know it. Ethereum Free Pass 4-year anniversary live cast. Let's take a listen to this very quick clip. This is obviously Eleanor Terra from Fox Business and Jason Foster from Empower Oversight. Check it out.
Let me ask, I want to bring Ellie on this. Ellie, and if you can't answer a question, feel free to tell me you can't answer. But we're sitting here, we're talking about these emails that went to Bill Hinman. Can you say whether or not you've reached out to Bill Hinman for comment? Has there been a comment? Are you privy to share any of that?
I can't share who I've talked to because I talked to a lot of people off the record, but I will tell you that we reached out to every single person involved in this opus that Charlie and I wrote, every single person that we've been talking about, and they were okay with what we printed back in November. So
okay,
can't say yes or no, but
I understand. But as far as I know, Bill Hinman has never come out to correct any of these things, allegations that I've made, where I haven't accused him of violating a crime. I said maybe he violated Title V, maybe he was in violation of the criminal conflict laws of the United States, but to my knowledge, he hasn't come out. And so Jay Clayton was asked a question about, this, and he said, I can't talk about ongoing case. And I want to make this clear to everyone out there. There is no ongoing case about the ethics in the Ripple case. They're not litigating the conflicts of interest of Bill Hinman. So it is possible for Bill Hinman, for example, to come on record and say, this is what happened. I don't believe I violated any ethics. I screened my speech with the ethics office. I had them screen it before. I submitted it before. They didn't come back to me. There's none of that. You're not aware of any comments like that where he refutes any of this, are you?
No. And I almost wonder if maybe the SEC lawyers are telling him just not to say anything because they think maybe it'll mess up their defense. Because, obviously they went in saying, this is your personal opinion. He's in his deposition on record saying, this is my personal opinion. But now the SEC lawyers are doing a 180 saying, actually, it was the opinion of corporation finance. I will say I've talked to a few insiders at the SEC who knew Bill personally, and they've told me that lovely guy. And obviously they're going to tell me that, but he also is just very kind of by the book, and they told me this. So he is a straight shooter.
Which book are you talking about? The Ether book or the ethics book?
Oh, shout out to John Deaton and Eleanor Terrett and Jason Foster. That got them all giggling a little bit right there. I think the key thing to take away from that is that, on the question that John Deaton is asking towards Jay Clayton, that has nothing to do with an ongoing case. Right. So very, very important to note that. Now, let's keep this moving. We have got a lot to go over, and we're about to talk about shadow banking or shadow bank run, a classic shadow bank run, which I find extremely, extremely interesting. And you will too, I believe. Worthy of a Pulitzer, Rosalind Layton, who wrote this article for Forbes yesterday. Seriously, thank you for your continued coverage. And she talks about the transparency of having to turn over the Hinman speech, which is really what we're talking about from the John Deaton clip there. And if they have to turn over those documents, it could force the SEC to settle, because it is obvious that the SEC is doing backflips to make sure that we will never see those email drafts, and I believe that we never will. We will see. I'll make the video if I'm wrong. This here is a slip of the tongue, says Nerd Nation. Let's take a quick listen to this clip here.
We have to ensure there's investor protection in this space, and we're going to work with the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, where there's some that are commodity tokens, because while many of these...
So now many of these are securities, he goes on to say. He says some are commodities. Remember, some meaning two, Bitcoin and Ethereum. The rest he sees belonging to him. Let's not get it twisted. But the question here for me is, what does it really mean when the day comes that Gary Gensler publicly says that Ethereum is a commodity as the SEC chairman, but yet it has never had or done any public disclosures for the SEC or the CFTC, no matter where it goes? And don't tell me it's decentralized, because we've all seen the evidence about large whale investors disguising their identities. I tell you, it is disgusting what is happening here. This is Tim Massad, a former CFTC chair, and he reacts to the Celsius news of the freezing accounts, and I think it's going to be just as chilling and compelling to you as it was when I heard it. Take a listen.
I think the people running Celsius had their heads in the sand, okay? If they couldn't have seen, after the BlockFi case was announced, after Coinbase pulled back, that what they were doing had a lot of similarities to...
But But Aave on Ethereum can continue to lend. No public disclosures to Ethereum and their ICO. Admittedly, William Hinman used his personal opinion to give a single project gain from the SEC chair position. Absolutely seeing a violation in Title V, as John Deaton highlighted there. That's okay, though, right? But this isn't, they're saying. I tell you, it gets worse by the second here. You don't need to hear the rest of it. You got what you needed. But there's more trouble. And this time, it looks like what we're seeing here is another margin call turns into allegations. It's Three Arrows Capital, and the article says here basically that Three Arrows Capital has spent about $1 million of holders' money. And this comes after the head of crypto trading firm 8Blocks alleged that Three Arrows had used $1 million of 8Blocks funds to answer its margin call. 8Blocks had entered into agreement with the hedge fund in 2020 to use the latter's trading accounts. The allegation comes as Three Arrows faces liquidation on multiple fronts by its debtors amid a sharp decline in the crypto market. The firm has reportedly seen some of its positions close, which has to some extent caused a decline in the crypto market, especially Ethereum prices. Three Arrows alleged ghosted customers, debtors. 8Blocks alleged that the Twitter thread, that the firm had initially requested Three Arrows for withdrawal of its funds earlier this week, which was ignored. That's a problem. But let's go ahead and talk about the one that's on deck, which is Celsius. And it now has policymakers on high alert. Systemic contagion. That's what the words are. You think this is a mistake? Well, listen to this. This comes right back to everything we've been following for more than 2 years, which is the Financial Stability Oversight Council, which, by the way, was created during the last crisis from the Dodd-Frank Act, for which Michael S. Barr, former U.S. Treasury official, former Ripple advisor, now gotten the green light from the Senate Banking Committee to be confirmed as the Federal Reserve VP chair to help write regulations during this crisis we're about to go through and transition into the fourth industrial revolution. This article says the notion of an individual crypto firm failing is not necessarily calamitous to many in Congress. If crypto firms start going down like dominoes, however, and crashing the broader market, then the industry might be viewed through the lens of systemic risk. How about that? Such a label might incur oversight from the Financial Stability Oversight Council, which has a sweeping, if seldom used, authorities. How about that, ladies and gentlemen? Celsius' relationship to Tether, the largest stablecoin operator, is of particular interest in this respect. Do you think any of this is an accident, that this is happening while the executive order is out? There's no way that any of this is coincidence, right? I know that a lot of you feel this way too. I know it has to be. If I'm feeling it, I know a lot of you are feeling it. Well, this is awful damn timely, right? And Senator Gillibrand and them said we can get a stablecoin bill done this year. And the largest stablecoin operators invested in Celsius, which has just been frozen. It says here, with the supply that's already been slipping as customers have redeemed USD Tether, Tether was known to have exposure to Celsius. Though Tether denies an impact, which we covered yesterday, listen to this. Its overall reserves were also subject to widespread suspicion and scrutiny. Though USD Tether remains by far the most voluminously traded stablecoin in the world, it says Tether right now has exposure to Celsius, has been bleeding out customers for quite a while now. So if the part of its equity base just evaporates, it might face a liquidity crisis. This is Rowan Gray, assistant professor at Willamette Law School. I've been saying this, that they're trying to rug pull Tether by cutting the very things that are underpinning it. like a Celsius investment. Oh, if you think this market's bleeding now, let's all entertain the understanding that we could be witnessing the predicament right now is a classic shadow bank run, Grace said. This is literally the definition of a banking collapse. It's not just an unregistered security, he says. Look, if you think the market's bleeding right now, I want you to quickly fast forward to July, August, sometime in that time frame, and imagine that USD Tether has crashed now just like US Terra did. Uh-oh, what's Bitcoin's price then? 10,000, 8,000, 6,000, 3,000. What is it? What is XRP's price? 20 cents? 18? 13? 9? What is the price? I'm not saying this will happen, but it is looking to me. I'm leaning in. I'm leaning in. A classic shadow bank run, they say. And this is a great interview from Michael Arrington and Tony from Thinking Crypto right here. Shout out to Tony Edwards. Listen to this very quick clip about what Michael Arrington says as he's talking about the overall scope of the economy and about how we could see ourselves in a very quick move to a paradigm shift.
We're already paying like $300 billion a year in interest. And entitlements, interest, and defense are well over 100% of tax receipts. Like we can't. And the more debt we pile on, the harder it's going to be to pay that off. Tax receipts are going to go down because nobody's making capital gains. That'll add to the deficit. So at some point, the Fed has to give up. They have to. Mathematically, they have to. And when they do, this winter may disappear as quickly as it came. Now, what comes next won't be healthy, but certainly we should see inflation driving asset prices up at that point. So this could be over by the end of the year, and we could be in a whole other paradigm. We're already. How
about that? I mean, a whole other paradigm. What kind of other paradigm, Mike? I mean, we talking about being on a new digital financial system? We talking about switching over from a debt-based system to a multipolar asset-backed system, especially if inflation is going to drive commodity prices through the roof? Ripple remains unfreezed by the recent market turndown. Yeah, because they got use case. And they remain bullish no matter what's going on. I'll tell you how bullish they remain. They said they're in a strong position and continue to grow. They're looking for great talent to help build the next generation of crypto and blockchain solutions. They have a meetup coming up in a big recruiting event in Toronto next week, if you're interested. Brad says Ripple is hiring for hundreds of roles around the globe, both in person and remote. Fair warning. We have a no assholes policy. If that's the kind of culture you're looking for, click the link. There you go, right there. Shout out to Brad. This is a reminder very quickly, the Central Bank of Bhutan, which is going to use the Ripple private ledger, says the Royal Monetary Authority collaborated with Ripple and blockchain company to explore the possibility of the CBDC. We'll keep you posted on anything. It's just more confirmation of things moving forward. Shout out to Wrath of Common for that. This is Hall of Famer Michael right here. Says Zago, a stablecoin built on the Ripple XRP ledger, to release detailed market research report. And basically what this is in the Africa region, and it's mainly for Africans, so they can use this and have a stable coin that is US dollar pegged. And that is going to give them a lot more buying power in the global economy. Quickly take a look at this. Ripple defendants have filed their response to the SEC submission, proposed redactions to the SEC letter of opposing Movant's motion to file amicus brief regarding one of the SEC experts. So this is about the XRP, or about the SEC's XRP expert, Patrick Doody. What I want to show you here is that basically Ripple says, look, we don't need to redact nothing, right? We're cool with it. Anything other than the guy's information, essentially, is they're saying, but everything else you can pretty much show. But what I do like in this is that it says here, the SEC has requested redactions of passages that demonstrate the weakness of experts' analysis. These passages do not appear to pose any safety risk, but instead appear to target information that would reflect weakness in the SEC's case. Oh, that's a nice touch right there. So that's really nice. Now let's take a look at this about possible decoupling here. Dark Defender says ETH was dominating the XRP Ethereum pair since 2018. 4 years of darkness. I don't know when this lawsuit will end, but I can show you that the XRP has started flipping the ETH dominance. If we go to this chart right here, this is what he's showing in the pairing. And he's basically saying, if we get clarity, just imagine what could happen. We could actually flip that dominance. And speaking of charts, take a look at this from Crypto Toes. It says, found some very bullish data on the XRP daily chart. It's a double tap on this diagonal trend line that you see right here. Look, double tap from the bottom and hitting resistance, double tap on support, and double tap. Here we are again. The question remains now, do we see a repeat in this area where we get what happens afterwards, which is the spike up? That's what we're talking about here. We're paying attention to it all, whether it's fundamental news or whether it's technical analysis. That's what we try to keep you up to date with. That's going to do it for me. Hit the like and subscribe and leave a comment below. Things are getting interesting, ladies and gentlemen. I'll catch you on the next one.